Alright, and this time we have a Link Pumpkin entry who's all boss and heroic and awesome, and he's even left-handed in there, which Nintendo these days can't get right because of the Wii. They're making him right-handed so noobs can swing their freaking Wiimotes into their TVs. Anyway, as you guys can tell from the video time, it's a really long match despite ironically being baton pass. Like, how's that supposed to work? You either fail in 3 minutes or you succeed in 7. But here we are nonetheless, and because of that length, I didn't feel like editing that much out, just a little bit. So, bear with me if you want, or I'll let you know when there is a stall coming up later and you can skip ahead a minute or two. So first turn, obviously double stealth rock, made perfect sense. It really bums me out because of Ninjask. He's automatically going to be half dead, and that kind of hinders things because of his HP. But so be it, that's where I am. And in comes a Miltank, and I think, this is actually a really good poke to try and work something out with Umbreon with a mean look. He's something who can't explode, can't U-turn, and he's not exactly that threatening to Umbreon. And then he starts cursing up when I get a burn on it. I'm like, sweet. That means I know he's going to want to spend a couple of turns in there getting up more curses to make up for the -2 attack. He's going to want to milk drink that stuff off, and until he feels threatened by Umbreon, he's most likely going to stay in there, because he's not going to want to waste all those boosts, even if he expects a baton pass threat from my Umbreon itself. So, however, I am a little bit worried on my own end of a Hammer Arm coming in. I'm assuming he's most likely going to be scrappy, but Hammer Arm has still obviously got type and really good coverage in that regard, and still hits ghosts for that matter. It doesn't have to just be stab normal moves. So I am a little worried about that, but so that's why I want to go for the Wish first, risking that one turn where I don't know if I can, stay in long enough to mean look him or not. But I end up getting off the mean look, and I'm like, sweet. Of all the vids I've done with this thing, I haven't actually been, or I don't think I've been able to actually pull off a mean look and start boosting up. So I know from a long time ago, back in the old vid versus Zeus Dominates, when I had a Raikou that was Calm Minding and he had a Celebi that was Calm Minding, at that point I figured my Raikou's special attack stat is higher than his Celebi's, thus I am boosting a bigger number, and that I'm essentially gaining more points of stats. Like the subtraction, I mean the division multiplication between them will still be proportionately the same, but the subtraction between the stats will be greater. So I figured I was getting an advantage that way, but that's not how the damage formula works, as I found out the hard way at the end of that awesome vid. So as long as we keep trading curses, neither one of us is getting an advantage, which means that's an advantage to me. He doesn't have Hammer Arm, and he's not exactly hurting me as much as I thought, and the more curses I can get up, the less that's going to get up to, the easier it's going to be for me to sit in here and take hits, the easier it's going to be for me to pass out, etc. And then I start to get thinking on what am I going to pass to. I would still love to pass to Dusknoir, because even though I was able to do it last vid, he wasn't able to bring out the W. So I still at some point in my life would love to make that happen. I'm probably not going to get another chance to do it ever again, though granted I said the same thing last night versus Chongo. I am, of course, since this is a different situation, he's not necessarily a guy I know nearly as well as I know Chongo, I want to play a little bit more serious, see if I can get the W, because it's by all means not guaranteed. This time there's 5 guys instead of 3, so going to Machamp is going to be, obviously, the more correct play in terms of winning, which at the end of the line is second only to breathing, as said by Steinbrenner. So we're sitting in here, and I'm thinking if Ninjask can survive a hit or not. From the Smogon standard amount of attack that this dude is going to have, it'll be like a 25% chance or less. But these turns I'm sitting here wasting time with, I realize he's not hurting me as much as that, or as the Smogon standard would be. So I know that Ninjask is going to be okay despite Stealth Rock coming in, and then Wish is going to cancel out the Stealth Rock. So I also start thinking I have another strategy here. If I can get him out of body slams, then it doesn't matter what I go to. I'll be able to go to Ninjask for free and, just be able to set up all day long doing whatever the heck I feel like. And in hindsight, I know that if I really, really wanted to, I could have stopped the video, had it make a file, put it in an editing program, watch it back, count all of his body slams, and I know I'd be able to sit in here long enough, or most likely long enough, where I could get close enough to all of them out of here, and that it'd be extremely advantageous for me to do that. It would guarantee a victory if I wanted to take that amount of time. But I'm not going to go through with that. That's a little ridiculous. I shouldn't be able to, go back and look at a recording of the first half of the match during the match. But at the very least, I do have to think mentally about it, start back and going through the turns in my head and jotting down, how many times I think he went with body slam. If he doesn't crit, I can get him out of those and it's just over. So I do have to worry about the crit, though there's nothing I can do about that. And gotta try and see if I can get over to Ninjask. As ironic as it is, getting all these speed boosts with curses can be really, really awesome, and Ninjask is just the best guy to go for it. So he ends up trying to save a bunch of body slam PP by not going for it, and after having a few turns of me putting a wish in the air, thus an expected baton pass turn, and him not swinging for consecutive attempts, I knew that he was just going to not do any attacks until something else came in. So I end up being able to come in for free, which is extremely helpful. So at this point, just protect sub. I'm really bummed out that this dude has an even number HP, so I can't sub down to 1 hit points. It's going to give me 1 less substitute to make, which really sucks because I would love to get at least 8 speed boosts to give me a +2, preferably 10 to give me a +4 because he is -6 when he came in here. But because I'm missing that 1 turn of substitute, that's not going to allow me to get that extra protect and that extra turn of sub. I could have, if I was really, really, really finicky, gone back after 1 sub and protect, or I guess 2 protects and 1 sub, gone back to Umbreon and make him waste more body slams that way, get a wish in the air, attempt to come back to Ninjask and restore his HP, thus getting me more substitute and more protect chances. But I'm not going to end up going with that. At this point, it's obviously too late. It's something I would have had to have done the very first turn, maybe not even going for sub in the beginning, or after just 1 sub max, and it's obviously way too late because of Stealth Rock to do that. Unfortunately, I only end up with I think 6 boosts, which puts me at 0 speed, which is not very beneficial. So Dusknoir is not going to be an option, obviously, or even for that matter, Machamp is still not going to be fast enough. But I'm going to have to see what I can do with the power, because obviously they're still going to be able to take hits on the special side. They're still going to be able to take hits from faster guys as they come in. So I know that I want to go back to Umbreon just so I can get a wish in the air at the very least and restore Machamp up to full when he does come in, should he get body slammed. And that's just going to be the best thing for me to do. I'm not going to try to go to Dusknoir this match. As much as I would absolutely love to, Dusknoir is not going to be able to take out the Miltank by himself. Not with Milk Drink, not with me not having a way to heal myself. As I mentioned earlier, with the equal amounts of +6, my +6 Earthquake is not going to beat his +6 Scrappy Body Slam when he can heal and I can't. So I suppose, sure, I could Will-O-Wisp him and, make him waste the turn heal belling and all that jazz, but whatever. It's not gonna work out that way. So I am still trying to figure out, maybe if he's just flat out of body slams. I do still spend a fair bit amount of time trying to work on that, and I cut out at least, I would say at least 3 minutes of sped up time right around in this section where I'm going back, counting, trying to figure out, deciding like what's my best plan of action. Because at this point, actually, I think in the game, when I was playing this, I had forgotten about Stealth Rock, so I was still thinking on going back to Ninjask. So that's why I was thinking about it so hard, like if I wanted to try and make that happen. But obviously that's not going to be the case. So I eventually decided, all right, it's now or never. I'm going to go to Gilgamesh. I got a wish in the air so I can recover from the Stealth Rock damage, and he starts wasting more heal bells. That's fine and dandy, no big deal. And we're just going to have to see what I can make happen. The +6 Dynamic Punch, it's going to come through, absolutely roll this guy, and I think, again, I'm still at +6. I might be at +7. In comes Claydol. Figures I don't have Ice Punch on this Machamp. That's my other Machamp. But I'm going to go for Dynamic Punch, and he's got a Trick. Really? So, despite the fact that Claydol is slow as heck, and I don't know if I have 1 speed boost or not. Both of these guys are slow. I hit my camera because I don't know what happened. But he said he was max speed with Choice Scarf for Trick. I'm just like, really? The only Claydol in the world with 396 speed, and I face it right there. I'm so tired of Trick beating me every single freaking game someone uses Trick. Like, I swear to God, if you guys want to play me and want to win, just use Trick. I lose. I forfeit. I'm about to make a no Trick clause. Like, if I was a legit Pokemon trainer, like if this stuff was RL, I would not make my dudes stupid enough where I give them something to hold on to and they go, oh, this little opponent is walking up to me and wants to shake hands and trade items. Let me agree to that while my owner is telling me no. That's not going to happen. It just, it bothers the hell out of me. Obviously I'm arguing, realistic things in Pokemon, which is totally not realistic at all. But just the concept of, like, why are you so stupid that you're going to let the enemy give you a crappy piece of item that you don't want instead of the one that your master gave you for a reason? So, whatever. I waste a few turns trying to scare him out. Obviously, I predicted he wouldn't stay in while I have Sucker Punch hanging around. So I switch out there. I figured he would sub at least. But in comes this dude, which I would love to get a T-Wave on or just some T-Bolts and see if I can get some damage on there. He fakes me out, so now I know a fighting move is going to come this turn. I'm going to go over to this guy so I can pretty much just waste the time, get somebody in on a free switch. He doesn't survive, even the Mach Punch, which is a little unfortunate. Poison Point does activate, so that's good. That seems to activate really, really high. Even in all the other vids I've used one of the Niddos, it's been somewhere between 30 and 50% activation, so that's really good. I come back into this guy, mostly because, hey, it's a gimmick baton pass mix. I don't even want to call it a team, a mix of dudes, you know, and I already pulled my chain off, so it's not like I have that many options. I went over to Noir just really because he's going to be the best thing to waste time, which is ironic. You know, we both double switch at the same time in an advantage where I would have T-bolted his Togekiss. Like, why would you have done that? That just, I guess unless he predicted my Dusknoir switch, which would make sense. But anyway, that's where we are. So I go back to Umbreon, and I knew Gengar was going to come in trying to take the biggest advantage of it, so I brought Magnezone right back in. It's hilarious how I go off on a tangent, and then, bam, snap on a dime, I get right back on the correct turn. So I'm just going to start going for T-Bolts. I know he's probably going to have Focus Blast in there to deal with me, but I do need to finish it off. I'm expecting Pain Split here, and I'm debating, do I want a T-Wave, do I want a T-Bolt? And I figure that T-Wave is probably the correct move, but just in case, I'm going to go with T-Bolt if he wanted to switch out and try and save the Gengar. Maybe maybe I'm predicting his set at that point, and if I'm wrong on that end, then I just flat out, I'm just totally wrong, and T-Bolt is at least going to be decent regardless. So it took a lot more health, or he gained a lot more health than I expected, but he still was able to die in one hit, so that's fine. And at this point, again, I stayed in last time, so there's nothing really else I have going on. I'm going to stay in this time, see if I can get a T-Bolt here and finish the thing off. It'd be nice. So I do expect him to go for a fake. Well, I don't know if he's going to want to go for a fake out or not because of Life Orb and Poison. He's going to start killing himself real quick. He goes right for the Mach Punch, but by not going for the fake out, I have enough HP left to survive. So it cost his life and it saved mine that he didn't go for a move, which, you know, it makes sense on his end. He's going to lose a lot of HP for essentially nothing, but it turns out to be something. So in comes a Starmie as his last, and I'm just like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, I thought I was still actually in fairly decent shape at this point. So I go to Dusknoir. I don't think this one's going to be Trick, but God, who knows at this point. He probably does have it on. He ends up being Specs as I see, ouch, that hurt. So I look at my Dusknoir's special defense, and I look at Umbreon's, and I know how much Dusknoir has for HP, how much he's getting back from lefties, etc. I'm like, Umbreon's going to be able to take hits a lot better, considering what that did to Noir. Umbreon should be able to go in there, survive, and get a Wish up, and see if I can give it to somebody else, if I can Baton Pass, because using Wish and then Baton Passing the next turn, Umbreon's going to take the hit instead of just switching, and then I can get something in with more hit points, hopefully survive like Machamp, and be able to finish this stupid thing off without biting the dust. But then the min-max variation decides to bite me in the tail, and despite the fact that this dude being better at taking special hits is taking them worse, because Dusknoir didn't take enough apparently. So that just totally messes everything up. Now I'm not going to be able to survive, and go figure. So that just really wrecks everything. I'm not even sure if I still get the Wish off at this point. And once that happened, I figured this is pretty much game over. He still has a Togekiss. He's still got this thing. In fact, that might be all he has left at this point. So I want to potentially scare him away with a Shadow Sneak. I know it's not going to KO. I know it's most likely a 3-hit KO. Obviously, I've got like crit chance, but that's, you know, whatever. That's a different story. So I expect Togekiss to come back in. So I would like to switch, but at the same time, like, what's Magnezone really going to do at that point? He's just going to, you know, get T-Waved or die from Flamethrower or something like that. So I figured, despite the fact that it's super obvious, and he didn't go for it last time, which he said he wasn't even thinking about, he just clicked a move and then realized that he shouldn't have switched, or he should have, instead of staying in on the Shadow Sneak. But I figure at this point, he knows he's going to kill me in one shot, so maybe he's going to stay in there and go for it, thinking I'm going to predict the switch this time. So I don't know. I went for it. I figured if Togekiss comes in, there's nothing I can do at this point anyway, so whatever. And I decide, do I go right to Magnezone now? I think I go to Magnezone now and he gets T-Waved. I believe that is correct. Yes, here we go. Go to Magnezone now, and Unidentified Flying Epic is what I need to rename this guy, because this dude is absolute boss. The game is over. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys can see that at this point. There's not exactly a whole lot I can do, but I'm still fighting it out for 7 minutes after editing it out at least 3 minutes worth of sped up garbage. So the dude is taking barely more than leftovers are recovering. I'm getting, 21, I think, from lefties, and he's hurting me 23 to 26, I believe. So he's not really able to gain any ground on me. And as long as I get one turn where I'm not T-waved, or where I'm not paralyzed or flinched, then it's going to give me an advantage. Excuse me. The more often he has to play safe, play defensive, and either substitute or roost, thus me getting an extra turn of lefties in there, the more this plays into my side. So, because the damage is essentially going to be 1-for-1, and he can still even technically miss his Air Slash as well. So he keeps, having to play defensive, which is fine. Like, I understand the concept that he doesn't want to just die in one shot. Though honestly, at this point in the game, doing that, having Starmie come in, finish me off, that would, end the game. Starmie just sweeps me from here on out. But he thinks that Starmie is going to die from Sucker Punch on Dusknoir, which he doesn't have. Nidoking has that. He's got Shadow Sneak instead, but he thinks he's going to die from that, which, from my past experience, I know there's no way in hell it's going to be a 3-hit KO. I know that. And I'm also expecting that Machamp is going to die in one hit from Starmie's Surf, which he also doesn't expect. So at this point, he thinks that this is his only chance, is to finally get a turn where I'm paralyzed a couple turns in a row or something like that, where he can restore himself up to a safe amount and then start flinching me every single turn, which is not going to happen at this point because it took him too long, and I got my lefties up there to way more than what he can handle, because he's only essentially dealing 5 points every time he hits me, which isn't every turn anyway. So obviously you guys have noticed now the Sepia tone kicked in about a minute ago, and that just means Mega Stall. So if you want to skip, let me see here. If you want to skip to about 20 and a half, you're just going to miss a big old stall of Magnezone Togekiss. If you don't want to skip ahead to 20 and a half, that's fine. But here we are. So he's still trying to play defensive, try and not lose it, so to say, and keep going with Togekiss. At this point, though, he's starting to realize that it's not being advantageous for him. So he still, in my opinion, should come in with Starmie at some point, or at the very least Air Slash until he's dead, and then be able to bring Starmie in safely, because I know that once Magnezone gets up there high enough in HP, he's not going to be able to finish me off in one turn from Starmie itself, and Magnezone's going to come out with the sweep, and he's going to come out with the victory unless he does it now. At 240, it's starting to get borderline from what I expect Starmie to be able to do. And I do start obviously switching to Hidden Powers and T-Bolts and stuff, trying to save T-Bolts because Hidden Power is not going to kill Starmie, so I know I need at least some T-Bolts. And I figure once I get down to around 8 Thunderbolts left, I'm going to start saving them and alternating with Hidden Power, because I'm going to have more T-Bolts and he's going to have substitutes. And once Sub is gone, I can just T-Bolt on him all day. I can get T-Waves on there. There are a lot of turns where I wanted to T-Wave, but I figured, it's not going to help me out that much. I'm still going to be slower. And, if he gets paralyzed for a turn, it's really just going to be a dead turn, most likely. So, I didn't want to go for a T-Wave while he sets up a sub either. So I figured, who knows what's going to be predicted. I'm just going to ignore T-Wave for now. So, unfortunately for him, I am just about back up to max hit points. I still have a handful of T-Bolts left. I've figured out his ploy. I'm HP icing on all of his subs. And at this point, there's not a whole lot he can do. By letting Magnezone come back in, which I'm not even sure saying letting him is really legit, because he wasn't able to do that much to it. I was sitting at, I think I got, down to 14 at one point. So we're still talking, that's a 3-hit KO at that point, to which if any of those 3 turns I break through all the flinch and Parahax chance, then I still kill him. And then he's left with Starmie versus my other 2 guys, which he thinks he's going to die on that. I think, or I believe otherwise, but that's just how the two thought process panned out, and eventually I know he's going to start running out of moves. He's going to start having to go for attacks on me or flat out switching when he doesn't have a sub up. And I think in this next turn or two, not this one because he's roosting. Okay, a T-Bolt here. Yep, I think this very next turn, he's going to go for an air slash. I'm at max HP, and I'm going to get a T-Bolt through him. Yep, here we go. Sepiatone gone. So at this point, sure, I got fairly lucky in the fact that I wasn't paralyzed or paraflinch comboed very often. But at the same time, even if I was stopped for a turn by not killing him, he doesn't gain anything out of it once I got up to like 100 hit points. So now his Starmie has to come in, and I was like, I can't believe I came back. If you crit or I get a Parahax, I lose. But unless that small chance happens, I'm going to freaking win this game. And HP goes down, down, down. He gets a critical hit out of nowhere on me like that. I'm just like, are you serious? After all I just went through in this match, going off with the pass, getting tricked to Scarf as a ghost came in, ruining that, having to have this epic, massive stall with Magnezone, going back up from 14 to full with leftovers only against Paraflinch, then you come in on the only turn you have left to survive the game and get a critical hit. I was just stunned, and oh my god. And so, of course, in comes Machamp, die in one hit just like I expected, and he didn't. In comes Dusknoir, Shadow Sneaks, isn't going to finish it off unless I get a crit, and even then it's debatable. So, I feel like I deserve so much more for how this match played out. At the same time, for such a gimmick mix of guys like this, I'm still really proud at how well they did. Obviously, I didn't win very many games at all, but I wasn't expecting them to. So I'm depressed and deflated, but whatever. I guess I did what I wanted to do with them. So thanks for watching.
Really?